Hello, welcome to Dungeoneers Pack, a channel bringing you player-focused discussions and character guides for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. My name is Josh, thank you for watching. When it comes to feats for range-based characters, there aren't too many. The ones that do exist can make your character an efficient blasting machine. In this video, I'm going to go over feats that you should consider for your range damage dealer character. I'll be going over the mechanics of the feat, but also how you can incorporate them or have them influence your roleplay. Before we get started, an easy way to support this channel is to like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that notification bell to know when new videos are up. You can also support us directly at our Patreon by becoming a Dungeoneer. When you become a Dungeoneer, you get access to an exclusive role and a private chat in Discord, access to all the character build scripts, and you will be able to listen to an audio-only version of each week's video before it goes up. You can find a link to the Patreon in the description below. With that said, let's get started. The first feat to make this short list is Crossbow Expert, which aims to make your character more efficient with any crossbow weapon. When you take this feat, you ignore the loading property with any crossbow you are proficient with. Any hostile creature that is within 5 feet of you does not impose disadvantage on your ranged attack rolls. And finally, for those that like to mix up their melee and range options, whenever you make an attack action with a one-handed weapon, you can use a bonus action to attack with a hand crossbow. Crossbow Expert is one of 2 feats found in the player's handbook that provides a benefit for using a specific style of weapon. The biggest benefit crossbow users will gain from this feat is being able to ignore the loading property. The loading property limits the amount of attacks we can make with a crossbow down to 1. With Crossbow Expert, if you're playing the class with the extra attack feature, you can now take advantage of it and blast away. Often overlooked is the second ability from this feat. Crossbow Expert's ability to ignore the disadvantage penalty we are given when we are trying to fire off a ranged attack with an enemy right up in our face applies to all ranged attacks. So that means you gain the benefit if you're using any other ranged weapon, thrown weapon, or ranged spell attacks. When it comes to roleplay, the Crossbow Expert feat can have your character be the equivalent of a gun enthusiast in a fantasy setting. Your character can have a fascination with obtaining special ammunition for their crossbow. The simplest thing you can do is have your character give their crossbow a nickname. The Magic Initiate feat is one of the most versatile feats in 5th edition, which is why it's made every feat list I've made so far, including this one. When we take this feat, we pick one class between the Bard, Cleric, Druid, Sorcerer, Warlock, or Wizard. We then gain 2 cantrips and a level 1 spell of our choice from the chosen class's spell list. We can cast the level 1 spell once per long rest, and the spellcasting ability for the spell corresponds to the spellcasting ability of the chosen class. This feat really benefits ranged spellcasters that fit into the in-combat role of the blaster. Depending on which spellcasting class you're playing, this feat can grant you access to some of the strongest or efficient cantrips and first level spells. For charisma-based casters, picking up the Eldritch Blast and Hexblade spells will provide a large boost to your damage per round. Since cantrips scale based on a character level, Eldritch Blast will allow you to hit multiple targets with each beam, or hit a single target multiple times. Then add Hex on top of that, which will add damage to your spell attacks and cause disadvantage to ability checks made with the chosen ability score. Another suggestion is to take level 1 spells that will help your ranged character's accuracy. Picking up Bless from the Cleric spell list will add 1d4 to your attack rolls, or taking Find Familiar from the Wizard list to summon a familiar and have them take the help action to grant your attacks advantage will go a long way to improving your average damage per round. I'm going to restate what I've said in previous feat videos. Magic Initiate can give your character a little bit of another class's character fantasy for you to use in your character's roleplay. Making a pact with a higher power being, becoming a god's chosen acolyte, or taking the time to study the arcane arts, use events from your game to propel your character into the world of magic. The next feat on this list is the ranged cousin to the Great Weapon Master feat, and that is Sharpshooter. Sharpshooter grants you abilities to increase your accuracy, while also giving you an ability that significantly increases your damage output. When taking this feat, you no longer suffer disadvantage on your ranged attack rolls when attacking from long range. Also, your ranged attacks ignore half and 3/4 cover. And the big bonus from this feat is whenever we attack with a ranged weapon we are proficient with, we can take a -5 penalty to our attack roll, and if we hit, we add a +10 to our damage roll. Sharpshooter is the best range feat in the game currently for non-spellcasters. Your damage output goes through the roof, even if it does cost you some accuracy, but the loss of accuracy can be overcome or mitigated by class features like the archery combat style, or by spells or abilities that can grant advantage. In roleplay, the Sharpshooter feat lets us play with the idea of our character earning a reputation for having a deadly aim. Take inspiration from characters like Robin Hood, Hawkeye from the Avengers, or Green Arrow from DC Comics. Your character could be this confident but calm and patient hunter, or the complete opposite and be a cocky showman always making trick shots. Spell Sniper makes this list to help ranged spellcasters gain some distance from their enemies so they can safely keep blasting away. In order to pick up Spell Sniper, your character must be able to cast at least 1 spell. It doubles the range of any spell you cast that requires an attack roll, your ranged spell attacks ignore half cover and 3/4 cover, and you learn 1 cantrip from one of the following classes' spell lists: the Bard, Cleric, Druid, Sorcerer, Warlock, or Wizard. The The prerequisite for this feat states you need to be able to cast a spell. This means it's not necessarily exclusive to spellcasting classes. If you choose a race that grants a spell to cast, or a subclass grants you spellcasting, you can also pick up this feat. Just like Magic Initiate, Spell Sniper grants us access to cantrips that can boost our damage per round. Ultimately, you would pick this up in order to give your character some distance to safely cast their spells. For roleplay, there are two angles that really come to mind. The first is for a spellcaster character that is mastering their spellcasting ability. For example, if you're a cleric, your faith in your deity has created such a strong connection to the force that allows you to cast your spells, you are able to cast them from a greater range. If you're a wizard, you have taken the time to study to manipulate arcane forces in a way that slightly alters the spells you cast. And if you're a sorcerer, your connection to your bloodline or magical soul strengthens, and you're able to bend the arcane forces to your will. The other idea is to take a war mage angle. Unlike the others, you spent your time on the battlefield part of an arcane artillery unit. While your enemies were catapulting rocks, your unit learned to safely throw fireballs from a long range. As you can see, there's not many feats for characters that like to blast away at range. Range feats play a supportive role in your build, but there is one exception. The Crossbow Expert feat is often built around so players can play a crossbow wielding character concept. Outside of Crossbow Expert, to build an effective range character, whether it's a bowman or a spellslinger, your class and subclass choices have more influence on your effectiveness as a ranged attacker. With that said, I want to hear from you. What feats do you use for your ranged characters? If you want to see more content like this, let me know down in the comment section. You can also catch me at the Dungeoneers Pack Discord. A link to the Discord can be found in the description below. Alright, I'm out of here. Have a good one.